clear the air, and that lets you save look here.
True Form Life.
Green look on.
Welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. On today's show, we're interviewing Laura Bateman, who's a pre- and postnatal specialist. She's going to tell us all about what she does, and one of my favorite segments called Band-Aids. All that and so much more coming up on...
This is Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Taddia, fitness expert on 96.5 CKFM.
This segment brought to you by Complete Truth Protein Powder. Live free, live true with whole natural foods. No additives, preservatives, soy, gluten, and dairy free. Supplement with superfoods to energize your day. Visit CompleteTruthProtein.co for details. Free samples available.
All right, welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. In the last show, we talked about Laura Bateman coming on as a pre- and postnatal specialist to give us an interview on what she exactly does. So we have her in the studio today, and I'd like to welcome her right now.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. Tell us about yourself.
So I'm a pre- and postnatal fitness specialist. So what that basically means is I don't cover all areas of pre- and postnatal specialty, but just the fitness side of it. And I got that certification fairly recently.
What did you do before that?
I was certified with AFLCA, well, still am. That's the Alberta Fitness Leaders Certification Association. So I'm a group exercise leader through them, and then also a pre- and postnatal fitness specialist.
So how long have you been doing this for?
I started, I guess almost 5 years ago. Just after my first son was born, I realized that I couldn't just pack up my stuff and go to the gym like I used to, and I needed a new way to exercise. So I started looking into that and started some classes kind of geared towards moms.
Okay, that brings up a good point, how you got into it. Why don't you tell the viewers about yourself so they know who they're talking to? Maybe anything about, how you got into it, but about yourself. I know you're a parent, and some other things that people might want to know.
Okay, well, I grew up in BC and I moved to Alberta about, 12 years ago now with my husband, and I lived here. We just worked, kind of did our thing, and wasn't ever really sure what I wanted to do for a career. I thought about going to college, changed my mind, ended up waitressing for a few years, which I really enjoyed. And then it wasn't until after I had my son, I always knew I wanted to be a mom. So once that happened, then I sort of realized, hey, there's something else I'd like to do as well. And like I said, I found it hard to just pack up my stuff and go to the gym. So I started looking into classes and discovered this thing called stroller size, and we didn't have it available in Olds. So I looked into what it would take to make that happen, and that's how I got started. Now I love it. Can't imagine doing anything else.
So one of the main reasons you got started is because you wanted to exercise or be fit as a mom, and that wasn't being offered around. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, having kids kind of changed my whole perception on health in general. All of a sudden, I cared a lot more about what I was putting into my body when I was pregnant. And then after I had my son, I was constantly thinking about what I was going to feed him and how to make the best choices for him and how to live an active, healthy life for our whole family. So, there wasn't really anything being offered in town. None of the gyms at the time had childcare or anything like that. So
is the stroller size different than what you're doing now?
Yeah, the stroller size I'm still doing in the spring and the fall, but it's an outdoor only kind of thing. And it's a little bit difficult for all moms just because of the nature of it, right? The kids have to be young enough to sit still in the stroller. So after I had my second child, I realized that wasn't necessarily going to work for me to do the stroller size all the time. And I started doing like a boot camp style class at the indoor playground that we had in town here. And then that closed down. So then new plan, now I'm at the rec center, and it's still a circuit style class. It's kind of on the spot cardio drills and strength training. And the kids are always welcome. They just kind of participate with the moms, or they play nearby with a few toys, that kind of thing.
So if someone's interested in these classes, what would you tell people about it? What's different, or what could be more apt to having kids around and working out?
Well, the thing I like most about having the kids around doing it with us is that you're really leading by example. You're showing them, mom can be active and healthy and have fun. Like, we really do have a lot of fun at class. The girls are always joking around and this kind of stuff. And it's a good example for the kids. And then there's no stress about worrying about childcare and all that kind of stuff. Some people do prefer to have the childcare, drop their kids off and get their workout on their own, and that's fine too. But I'm just offering another option.
Right. Okay, that brings up a good point that I wanted to cover. How do you lead by example as an instructor or as a mom trying to make healthy choices, for your kids to set a good example for them?
Like kind of in my everyday life?
Yeah.
Actually, I let my kids lead by example. I follow them. Kids are really good at keeping you active if you let them. So when they're playing a game, I try and, it's hard. Everyone gets distracted by the dishes and the laundry and all the rest, but I try and jump up and join in. And when we're outside, I just play with them. The best way to be active with your kids is just to play, I think.
Okay, and how about nutrition or food choices? That's one of the biggest things I hear is that it's difficult with kids.
It is. I think it's difficult for sure, especially if you've already been doing it a certain way and they're kind of stuck in that rut. Change is hard for kids.
Right.
If you can start off when they're nice and young and start off on the right foot with good, healthy foods for them, it's great. The other thing is sometimes kids really surprise you. There's been some things that I'll give my kids to eat that I don't think they would like. And yeah, sometimes they really surprise you. The important thing is to just keep trying over and over and over again.
Persistence.
Yeah, the first time you give them something new, they're going to not like it before they even taste it. If it looks funny or anything like that, they're not going to like it. But if you keep trying, I know my kids have come a long way in the last year. We've really been focusing on food.
Good. And do you have support with your other family? Like we always talk about a supportive group or a supportive community. Do you have that and have built that with your clients? Do you have that with family as well?
Yeah, I do. We have a little bit of family nearby. I also have some really good friends and their moms too, and that helps because they're all kind of focused on the same goals. We all want what's healthiest for our family, and so a couple of friends of mine in particular, we do a lot of menu planning and meal planning and stuff like that together. A lot of cooking and freezer meals, things like that.
Yeah, it's important to have that group. I think the success rate probably more than doubles to actually have people like that around. So
absolutely.
So how often are you running classes in town? You're running classes just in Olds here?
Yeah, just in Olds right now. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays at the rec center, and it's from 10 till 10:45 a.m. And my classes kind of go in 4 to 5 week sessions. Okay. Yeah. And
so you're doing some other things. I should pay attention to more that what everyone else is doing. But I saw you have a new Facebook page. Is that right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Healthy
Mama's Fitness.
Healthy Mama's Fitness? Yeah. And then you're starting, you have a website as well?
Yeah. And that's the same, just healthymamasfitness.com.
So what would you tell someone that's worried about kids or trying to work out and book time? What would you tell them to encourage them to come out and experience one of your classes?
Well, I think planning and organization is absolutely key for moms especially. So the nice thing about a group class is that you make that commitment. You've kind of set aside that time for yourself, and then you have to go.
It's important to make that a priority, and I tell people to book it in their schedule.
Absolutely. And moms can get really focused on their kids, which is great, but you need to make time for yourself as well. So
right. Okay, well, just to wrap things up here, thanks so much for coming in. You actually invited me to come to your class and present my book or whatever I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I think we reach so many more people if we work together, and we can positively affect more lives. So again, thanks for coming in and telling us what you do, so to give other people a different kind of option to live a healthy lifestyle.
Well, thanks for having me.
This segment brought to you by True Form Fitness for all your health and fitness needs. Personal training and group classes available locally. Visit trueformlife.com for details.
All right, this next segment is called Band-Aids, and it's one of my favorites because I think it's a great way of how we treat and think concerning problems in everyday life. I took a picture of a fence I was walking by that's been broken down in a certain area. You can see the picture on my blog at trueformlife.com if you'd like to see it. The actual fence wasn't fixed. Something else was put in place of the broken panels. I thought to myself, doesn't this look like a Band-Aid? Think about it. Why not fix the fence? Because that's not how we think. We're a quick fix, instant result society, which is exactly where fast food came from. It's where the rise in medication comes from, and it's the reason we have a growing rate of child obesity. I know this is just a fence, but this is exactly how we live. This is how we treat our bodies. Instead of putting in time and money into properly fixing the fence, someone filled the open space with another object. And understand this could very well be the temporary solution until someone has time and resources to properly fix it. But nonetheless, this is a good example of how we live. Let's break down the scenario concerning our health. We choose to buy cheap products because they cost less money and they're easily accessible. What comes out of these decisions? Our health is directly affected. Because of the price of highly processed food, we purchase cheap quality foods believing we're actually saving money, when in fact the cost of what our health is paying is much higher. So because we don't fuel our bodies with clean, healthy foods, our bodies break down, just like the fence. And instead of taking the time to replenish and nourish our bodies with rest, sleep, and good foods, all we're left with is a quick fix. In this case, the quick fix is some other object put in front of the gap in the fence. In our bodies, we choose medication. Let's go back to the fence for a second. Because there's a weak link in the fence and no part of the gap has been stabilized or supported, what happens to the rest of the fence? That's right, it weakens. Going back to our body now and how we use a quick fix, what do you think happens to the rest of our body when we use medication as a substitute to fix something? I'll tell you exactly what happens. Another part of our body is weakened, which is what we call a side effect. I know sometimes we need medication. I know sometimes we don't have a choice. More often than not, we feel as if we don't have a choice. And I know some feel I attack the medical field for no good reason, but that's not the case. I blame each individual just as much as everyone else. We're the ones that have to make the ultimate decision. We're the ones that have to live with whatever we choose. We can choose to make better decisions, or we can take the easy route, pop a pill, and deal with the side effects afterwards, which in some cases, concerning depression pills, for example, is a mountain you should hope you never have to climb. Why don't we take a little more care than we usually do? Why don't we look to prevent instead of treat? Why don't we purchase higher quality foods? Why don't we look to organic? If we run into a gap in the fence, why don't we stabilize and build back up instead of the alternative? These are questions I ask myself every day, and it would do a whole lot of good if you asked yourself the same thing too.
Exploring mind and body with True Form's Drew Taddia would not be possible without the help from the following sponsors: AG Foods in Didsbury, CLC Fitness Center, Health Street in the Cornerstone Shopping Center Olds, and Shoppers Drug Mart, working together to help build a healthier tomorrow. For more information on True Form Life, Drew Taddia, or how to become a sponsor of Exploring Mind and Body, visit TrueFormLife.com. True Form Life.
All right, that's all we have for you this evening. If you have any questions you'd like read on air, contact me at drewtaddy@gmail.com. In health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. For more on True Form's Drew Taddia, visit TrueFormLife.com or call 403-510-4915. Exploring Mind and Body with True Form Life's Drew Taddia would not be possible without the help of GDK Gravel and Sand. GDK Gravel and Sand, now offering all products in 1/2 and 1 yard bags. Give them a call today for more information. 1-877-335-2091.